Sunny Hostin, one of the more polarizing voices on The View, recently found herself at the center of a scandal so dripping with irony that it could double as a satire script. Known for her fiery takes on race reparations and identity politics, Sunny has spent years dissecting the ways history has shaped racial inequality. She's not just outspoken, she's loud, confident, and let's face it, pretty self-assured in her moral superiority. So when Sunny appeared on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show where celebrants learned about their ancestry, viewers anticipated yet another opportunity for her to align her personal history with her public persona. After all, for someone as vocal about racial justice, it would seem natural to know the details of her lineage. Right, wrong, what Sunny found out left her, and the internet reeling in disbelief.
Sunny Hostin. Sounds like a town. We're in sunny Hostin. She was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry. For context, Sunny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from...
Before we get started with this whole drama, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the latest news surrounding Hollywood. Sunny took her seat across from renowned historian and genealogist Henry Louis Gates Jr., ready to uncover the mysteries of her past. What she wasn't ready for was the bombshell: her ancestors weren't just struggling immigrants or oppressed minorities, they were slave owners. The same Sunny Hostin, who has spent years championing reparations and denouncing the legacy of slavery, found out that her family directly benefited from the very system she rails against. Her reaction was a mix of shock and awkwardness. Initially wide-eyed and visibly uncomfortable, she stammered something about always seeing herself as Puerto
Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah. So how are you feeling, my friend?
I think it's actually pretty interesting that my husband and I have shared roots.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. And I think it's great for our children to know this information. I guess it's a fact of life that this is how some people made their living, on the backs of others.
I didn't think my family was originally from Spain or slaveholders, she admitted, as though she couldn't quite believe the words coming out of her mouth. For a moment, there was silence, the kind of silence that makes you instinctively check if your TV's volume is still on. Sunny, ever the professional, tried to salvage the moment by muttering something about how this would be interesting for her kids to know, but it was clear the damage was done. Naturally, the revelation didn't stay confined to PBS. Enter Greg Gutfeld, Fox News' resident provocator, who lives for moments like this. If irony were a sport, Greg would have just won the championship. He kicked off his segment with a zinger that set the tone. Sunny host's ancestors were slave owners. That's like finding out a vegan secretly owns a barbecue joint. The audience roared with laughter as Greg dove deeper into the layers of hypocrisy.
I wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions? Yeah. Like you said, and it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say on The View, because without it, she's got nothing up there. She's not very bright. But the problem with her is that she went full racist. She injected skin color into a fairly generic behavior seen in all spouses, regardless of skin color. People marry, they listen to each other, they have something in common with them, they share their political views. She just didn't want to upset her husband by saying her husband makes her do everything, and then she'd have to accuse him of being a racist. Because if he told her that this is what white women do, then he's a racist.
Sunny has made a career out of weaponizing race and conversations, often using it to shame others or win arguments. Greg pointed out that her usual tactic of moral superiority had officially backfired. The next time Sunny tries to pull the race card on The View, someone's going to remind her, at least we're not slave owner racists, he joked. But wasn't just about the jokes. He highlighted something that many viewers found troubling: Sun's complete lack of accountability when faced with the shocking truth about her ancestry. She didn't apologize. Instead, she brushed it off as a fact of life. As expected, social media lit up like a Christmas tree within minutes of the revelation airing. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok were flooded with reactions. One user tweeted, "Sunny Hostin finding out her family were slave owners is a plot twist of the year." And then came the memes. One of the most popular featured a mock-up of Sunny with the caption, "Reparations, let me write that check to myself real." Quick, even Sunny's fans had a hard time defending her. Some argued that she couldn't be held accountable for the actions of her ancestors, but others weren't so quick to let her off the hook. It's not about blaming her for her ancestors' actions, one commenter wrote. It's about the hypocrisy of shaming others while ignoring the skeletons in your own closet. Greg Gutfeld didn't stop at Sunny. He used the opportunity to critique the broader issues with identity politics, which he argues often
lens of
oversimplify.
empathy. Debate
complex
highlights
issues.
ableism in politics. Pat Fetterman can do for disability what Obama did for race.
Say what?
See, because when all else fails, use identity politics. But MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell went a step further.
This is what happens when you focus so much on race, Greg said. You lose sight of the individual, the context, the nuance, and eventually it backfires, just like it did for Sunny. He made a broader point about personal responsibility, emphasizing that it's not about who your ancestors were, but what you do today. Sunny has spent years lecturing everyone else. Greg said maybe it's time she looks in the mirror. The revelation also raises questions about how society handles historical accountability. Should people like Sunny, who condemn others for their ancestors' actions, be held to the same standard? Or is it enough to simply acknowledge the past without letting it define you?
Don't get paid to sit in a comfy chair pontificating about everything all day. Nope, some of us are cameramen whose names I don't know. But maybe one day when we finally strip away this phony race war, it will finally expose this elite mentality. And we'll find out Sunny is just like Marie Antoinette, except she says, let me eat cake.
Greg's panel had a field day with this one co-host. Joked, if Sunny's been shaming descendants of slave owners, does she now have to shame herself? Another added, it's funny how wrapped up she is in identity politics. Turns out she didn't even know who she was, while the internet and media had a good laugh at Sunny's expense. Some point out that the moment could have been a turning point for her. Instead of brushing off the revelation as a fact of life, she could have used it to spark a deeper conversation about the complexities of history and identity. She could have said, I've learned something surprising about my own family, and it's making me rethink the way I approach these conversations. One commentator suggested that would have been powerful. Instead, we got a shrug and a move on. Even Sunny's co-host on The View seemed unsure how to handle the news. Whoopi Goldberg, known for her sharp wit, might have had to bite her tongue to keep from saying something like, Sunny, you want me to get you coffee, or would you like to ask your slave-holding ancestors for a refill?
Are always clucking. They get to say stupid stuff for an hour every day, and then I get to say stupid stuff for an hour every day, except on purpose. But every now and then, one of those dingbats inadvertently says something that reveals modern liberal thought so perfectly it deserves further study. You know, like a weird serpent that washed up on the beach and you want to poke it with a stick.
At the end of the day, Sunny's revelation isn't just about her. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of self-righteousness and the importance of humility. History is complicated, messy, and often uncomfortable. None of us are free from its shadow, and that's precisely why it's so important to approach these topics with grace and self-awareness. Greg Gutfeld summed it up best: when you spend your life looking for racism everywhere, eventually it finds you, and for Sunny it was sitting right therein her family tree. So what's next for Sunny Hostin? Will she address the irony hidden or continue business as usual? Only time will tell. In the meantime, one thing is certain: this story will be talked about for years to come. And who knows, maybe next time Sunny lectures America about its history, she'll think twice before throwing stones from her glass ancestral house. If you guys like today's video, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.